inquiry says it has found significant quantities of human
There we
remains
go.
at a home for
Okay.
unmarried mothers in the Irish town of Tuam. The grim and distressing find has revived a mixture of anguish and anger at how unmarried women and children were treated at Catholic institutions.
Now, a proper cup of tea, you have to let it stew for a bit. That should be enough. Right. That's yours. There you go. Now, did I ever tell you about the myth of the Banshee? Well, long ago, we all used to believe in banshees. In fact, it was superstitious not to. I remember my father telling me about the time that my uncle saw one when they were out playing. An hour later, the neighbour had passed. That was the thing, you see. If you saw one and you heard her scream, you would lose someone you loved. It was bad news to see her, but even worse, to ignore her. Legend said she used to be a young girl. She used to cry at funerals for her job. Back in those days, people did that. They were called keeners. But she was bold, because she accepted alcohol as payment, something that should never have been done. A mortal sin it was. So she was cursed to forever mourn the souls of the dead and never allowed to rest. She would have to stand and cry and yell, and that would be the sound of the soul of someone you loved leaving their body. So no one wanted to hear her. A woman cursed to be forever heard but never listened to. My father said they used to call her the washerwoman because there was this story that she used to wash the clothes of the dead so they were nice and clean before they went to heaven. There was one tale, he told me, that his dad had told him about some man who was going into town for a dance one night. He heard this woman talking to herself. She was dressed all in black and standing by the stream washing clothes. So he went up to her and started to mock her and say, "Oh, why don't you wash mine while you're at it?" You know, that kind of thing. She told him no, and so he began to curse her, calling her all sorts. She ignored him, and he left her to it, went on his way. But later that night, he was sat outside the pub by the stream, and the woman appeared from the waters, ripped the shirt off his back, tossed it into the river, and then right back in his face. Sure, she would never have bothered him if he hadn't bothered her first. That's always the way, isn't it? The Banshee was the one who got the bad name after that, not the man. I always used to feel sorry for her, though, when Dad used to tell that story. The solitary washerwoman. I was a washerwoman too once, you know. My dad brought me to this old building. I sinned, you see. Just like the Banshee, so I was made a washerwoman too. Well, not quite the same sin as the Banshee. It was the worst sin back then. To be pregnant outside of marriage, a true mortal sin. There was such great shame associated with it. They wanted to hide it, to hide me. So I was dropped and left at this building, this laundry, run by nuns. I'd never heard of them before, but now I know it was the Magdalene laundry. There were loads of them all over the country. All for girls like me. Girls in trouble. Girls whose families, they couldn't cope with it. With us. But what about us? How were we supposed to cope?
Before starting the interview, I'd like to ask you to confirm that you agree to participate in the interview voluntarily and that you're familiar with the consent forms I previously provided to you. So
I agreed to this meeting with Claire, and I agreed to everything about the consent forms and everything.
Lovely.
My name was Ellen Ward, so they sent me to St Mary's in the same building from St Joseph's. It was a laundry called the Magdalene's. I was there only 15 or 16 years old, very short, and pushing the laundry with the stool under my feet to help me to pack in the laundry, dirty washing into the machine. Many times I fell in, but I got out so quick so I was afraid to go around. And when I asked them, could I take off the wet clothes, they said, you fell in, you can stay there all day. And it would be about 9 o'clock, we're in them clothes all day. And you got so sick, and you couldn't tell them why you got sick. So you just lived from day to day.
The sheets coming off and the boiling hot and terrible, possible glass over you and sweat pouring off you. I drank my sweat, Claire, drank my sweat, girl, I did that. Then I was kind of in bed and I was looking around at all the old women, you know, and saying, God, I'm never going to be here all my life, am I?
I don't know how long I was in Peacock Lane, so I think they were I screamed. I decided to scream one night. All the public outside were complaining about the noise.
So were you made aware of your rights when you arrived?
Oh no!
You weren't told how long you were.
We were taking all our own clothes, we were taking opposite and we would put on other clothes. Like a pension, like a prisoner.
You got beaten. You had to go on your knees and your 2 hands on the floor. You were like a dog then. And you got beaten on the backside, on the back, on the head, kicked into the stomach, kicked into the backside. It was just terrible. It was just dreadful. After that, I didn't know what it was to be kind. And I took it. And you know, you got so immune to the beating. You were on your 2 knees and your 2 hands had to be on the floor, so you were like a dog. They kicked you, they beat you. And I remember well, it was, as we call over in England, the broom, which you call the sweeping brush here. You got beaten on that till the stick got broken. And I remember when the head of the sweeping brush fell off. They stuck it into you, they beat you, and when it broke, they still beat you with the broken piece, and you could feel the broken bits going into you like splinters. And you didn't move. I saw you muse. I thought, no, if I was to die now, I would die happy.
Were you paid?
God almighty, not at all, Claire.
Were you given any pocket money?
Not at all, not a cent.
Nothing.
Not a cent, Claire.
And did you try and leave or escape?
No, but I knew a couple of the girls that did escape.
And what happened there?
They were back in an hour with the guards.
The guards brought them back?
But when you went to St Mary's, the laundry, it was like for a lifetime. You saw the gates open when the laundry people came in to back the big van to bring in the laundry from outside. But you never thought that van could move and you could run. And one lady, someone ran away because they got out some underneath the wheel or some other way. And when she came back, it was about 4 days later, but she was in that convent, wherever they took her to beat her. She was black and blue. So one day she was changing for her clothes. You had to change your good clothes off to go into the laundry. And as she took her clothes off, her whole body was blue. So I said, did you have a fall? So she, don't be so stupid, she said to me.
Head of the Catholic Church in Ireland has apologised unreservedly to tens of thousands of women and children, the survivors of homes for unmarried mothers and babies, often run by the Church, after an inquiry revealed around 9,000 children died over the decades. At one institution in County Galway, almost 800 died.
Therefore, Cola, I as Taoiseach, on behalf of this state, the government and our citizens, deeply regret and apologise unreservedly to all those women for the hurt that was done to them, for any stigma they suffered as a result of the time they spent in the Magdalene laundry.
Ireland in the 1950s was a deeply conservative Catholic society. Unmarried women who were pregnant were taken into religious institutions and separated from their children.
The fathers got away with it. It was always the woman that was to blame. It was always the woman's fault.
The children died whilst in the care of Catholic nuns at a mother and baby home between 1925 and 1961.
At the Tuam home, nearly 800 children aged up to 3 died between 1925 and 1961. Investigators believe many were buried at the site in some kind of sewage system.
It's a sewage tank. Why are there children buried in a sewage area?
Speaking directly to the women whose experiences in the Magdalene laundries have negatively affected their subsequent lives. As a society, for many years, we failed you.
The Irish government has committed to having this site excavated so the children whose remains are beneath this ground can be reburied with some dignity. Tuam is the mother and baby home which has generated the most international attention. But there are many other institutions in the Republic of Ireland with long histories of shame, neglect and unspeakable cruelty. The Irish government has said there were decades of brutality.
The regime described in the report wasn't imposed on us by any foreign power. We did this to ourselves as a society.
The government has called an inquiry, the 6th into what went on behind convent walls.
They won't inquire properly because I know what the government are like.
The report last year into the Magdalene laundries run by the nuns was a whitewash, say the survivors.
They took my life, they took my human rights, they took my hair, they took my clothes, they took my name, and they also took my daughter, which was the worst of all.
I mean, Claire, 23 years of age, my life started in like. I mean, it took my whole youth away, like.
I know.
I mean, it's very hard to forgive them, like, for doing it, like.
I hear you.
I get very angry when I look back and think back on it, like, you know.
I know you do. I know. And that's understandable.
Oh, yeah, very angry, like, it's very angry.
I always wanted to be an air horse, and if not, I'd like to be a policewoman. Yeah, because we used to see the airplanes going over us down in the west of Ireland. I used to say to him, one day I'm going to be up there. He said, where? I said, flying. And of course the girls say, you're correct.
And have you physical effects of being in the laundry?
Oh, well, no, because I'm full of arthritis in my hands over it, like, with all the wet clothes and everything. You know, full of arthritis, but not physically, like, mentally, I'm more mentally affected than physically.
Fair enough.
You know?
I do.
Because the memories I have up to the time I was 23 aren't very good ones.
Did you experience nightmares or
Oh,
things like that?
I still have. You still have. I wake up, it's in the back room I sleep in. One night I woke up and I was screaming. The doctor told him never to touch me because when I used to sleep with him and I used to cry in my sleep, he used to touch me. And I said, thinking that they were coming at me. So I went to the doctor and explained. He said, no, when your wife is crying, let her cry. He said, the only thing that will wake her is when the tears come down. And when you get itchy, you have to do it. And when I wake up and the tears come down and there I'm sitting up looking, I said, what's a stupid fool, you're only dreaming. But they still torment you, and I'm 72 now. And they started when we were 8 and 9, 7 and 6. You know, it's just, it's sad to think over how young you were to look back, and half of your life was a very sad time. And you couldn't tell anyone. And now we're telling you, and I'm hoping that lots of people will read it.
Yes.
And understand that keeping and bottling all these stories is not good.
Exactly.
Because it interferes if you get married, you're having children, and your background is still on you. If you don't bring it out, you're never happy with your husband or your children. because you're thinking of the things that happened to you. But I always say that you have to bring it out, let people know, and don't be one bit ashamed, because every one of us were ashamed. I was ashamed to tell anyone I was in a home. I used to tell everyone I was an orphan, and now, and because they wanted to know the whole story, I'm me now, and I tell nobody. But it's better to bring it out.